before we begin, just take a moment to your safe here. There's nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to go, just let your body relax, let your thoughts slow down, and if you enjoy these quiet stories, you can gently support the channel with a like. It helps more than you think now, just let it go and allow the story to carry you whenever you're ready, just listen. The cabin stood alone high in the mountains, far away from the noise of the world, far away from everything that once felt urgent. The road that led there was narrow and easy to miss, especially at night when the rain began to fall. You arrived just before the storm grew stronger, the sound of the tires on wet gravel, the faint glow of the headlights against the trees. Everything felt distant, as if you had already left something behind. You turned off the engine, and for a moment there was silence. Then the rain returned, soft at first, then steady, then constant, like a quiet rhythm. Filling the space around you, you stepped out of the car. The cold air touched your skin sharp with clean the scent of wet pine, and distant, somewhere far away, you could hear the low roll of thunder, not threatening. Just present, the cabin door opened with a soft creak. The side it was warm. A fire was already waiting, gently crackling in the fireplace, as if someone had known you would arrive tonight. You closed the door behind you, and the outside world faded away. The rain continued, but now it was softer, filtered through the walls like a distant memory. You placed your things down slowly, without hurry. There was no reason to rush here, no messages, no expectations. No one waited, just the quiet presence of the room. The firelight moved slowly, casting soft shadows across the walls. You sat down near the fireplace and listened to the wood shifting gently, to the rain tapping against the windows, to the wind moving through the trees. Time felt different here, so soft, almost as if it had decided to give you space. You leaned back, letting the warmth of the fire reach you, letting your breathing settle in this place. There was nothing to solve, nothing to fix, only this moment and the quiet comfort of simply being here. The storm outside grew stronger, rain falling heavier now, wind brushing against the cabin walls, but inside everything remained calm. Safe still, you watched the fire for a while, the way it moved, unpredictable yet gentle, each flame rising then fading without effort, without resistance, just like your thoughts beginning to slow, beginning to drift. You let your eyes rest, not fully closed, but softer now, as if the world around you was no longer something you needed to follow, only something you could feel. The rain continued steady, endless, like a quiet companion. And the cabin held you there, warm, quite safe, with nothing more to do and nowhere else to be, just here, just listening, just drifting. The fire had settled, not as bright as before, but softer now, steady. Its light no longer danced wildly, but moved in slow, gentle ways. You adjusted slightly in your seat, feeling the warmth reach deeper aside. The storm continued, but something about it had changed. It no longer felt distant or separate, it felt like part of this moment. The rain, the wind, the low rumble of thunder, all of it blending into a single endless sound. A quiet blanket wrapped around the cabin. You listened, not with focus, not with effort, just listening, the kind of listening that happens when there is nothing else to think about. Your breathing slowed without you noticing. Each inhale longer, each exhale softer. Your shoulders dropped slightly. The tension you didn't realize you were holding began to fade. Somewhere in the room wood shifted quietly in the fire. A soft crack, then silence again. You watched the embers glow deep orange, fading into red, then brightening again like a slower heartbeat. Time passed, but it didn't feel like passing. It felt still, as if the night had stretched itself out just for you. You stood up slowly, not because you needed to, but because your body moved that way, natural, unforced. You walked toward the window. The glass was cold to the touch. Beyond it, darkness, but not empty darkness. The kind filled with movement, rain falling through the air, wind brushing past unseen shapes, trees shifting just enough to be felt, but not fully seen. The flash of lightning far away. For a brief moment the mountains revealed themselves, silent, massive, and changing, then gone again. You stayed there, looking out, not searching for anything, just letting the night exist exactly as it was. Another distant roll of thunder, soft, deep, not frightening, just a reminder that the world was still there, even if it felt very far away. You stepped back from the window. The warmth of the cabin welcomed you again. The fire still burning steady, patient. You added another piece of wood carefully. The flame responded, slowly growing, then settling once more. Nothing rushed here. Everything moved exactly as it needed to. You returned to your seat, and this time you let yourself sink a little deeper. Your body felt heavier. Not in a way that pulled you down, but in a way that let you rest, as if the chair beneath you had softened, molding itself perfectly to hold you there. The sounds continued, fire, rain, wind, each one repeating, but never exactly the same. You noticed how your thoughts had changed. They no longer came in sharp lines, no longer pulled your attention. They drifted like clouds passing slowly, without stopping, without asking anything of you, and you didn't follow them. You simply let them pass. Your eyes grew heavier, not forced, just naturally, as if the night itself was gently asking you to rest. The warmth, the sun, the stillness, all of it working together without effort, without intention. You shifted slightly again, finding a position that felt even more comfortable. There was no need to move again after this, no reason to adjust. Everything felt right. The storm outside softened just a little, the rain still falling. but lighter now, more distant, like it was slowly moving away, or maybe you were simply drifting further inward, the fire dim, slightly not fading, just common, like everything else you were breathing now, slowly even quiet. Each breath blending into the next, without separation, without effort. Your body no longer needed attention, it knew what to do, and so did you, or maybe you no longer needed to know anything at all. The night continued, uninterrupted and changed, and you remained there, warm, safe, held by the quiet, the cabin, the storm, the fire, all of it still there, but softer now, further away, as if the world had gently stepped back to give you space. To rest, to drift, and slowly, without noticing exactly when, you began to let go just a little more, then a little more, until there was nothing left to hold on to, only the quiet, only the warmth, only the steady rhythm of a night that would continue even as you drifted deep and deeper into rest. The night continued, not as something that moved forward, but as something that simply remained unfolding slowly, without direction, without urgency. The cabin held its quiet presence, the fire now looked softer, but still alive, its glow resting gently across the room, not reaching, not demanding, just existing. You felt how everything had settled, not suddenly, but gradually. So slowly that you hadn't even noticed the moment it began. The air itself seemed heavy now, not heavy in a way that pressed down, but in a way that supported you, held you, allowed you to stop holding yourself up. Your body rested deeper, your weight sinking just a little more, as if the space beneath you had softened again, making room for you to let go just a little further. The rain outside had changed, not in sound, but in presence. It was no longer something separate. It no longer felt like it existed beyond the walls. It had become something else, something that filled everything, the constant, a quiet field of sound, endless, without beginning, without end. You no longer followed it, you no longer listened for patterns or pauses. It simply was, and you were within it. The fire cracked softly again, a brief sound, then gone, and even that didn't pull your attention. It passed through, just like everything else. You were breathing now, slow, even slower than before. Each inhale so gentle, each exhale long, soft, as if your body had remembered something it had always known, but had forgotten until now. You noticed, or perhaps you almost noticed, how the edges of your thoughts had faded. They no longer formed clearly, they no longer carried meaning. They were only impressions, faint, distant, like echoes that never fully arrived, and you didn't try to understand them. You didn't try to follow them, you let them dissolve before they could become anything at all. The room around you no longer felt like a space you occupied, but something you were part of. The boundaries had softened, the distance between you and everything else had quietly disappeared. The chair, the floor, the air, the firelight, all of it connected without needing to be defined, without needing to be separate. You rested inside that connection effortlessly, naturally, without knowing when it began or how it happened. Your body now completely still, not because you forced it, but because there was no reason to move. Movement had no purpose. Yet stillness was enough, more than enough. The warmth of the fire reaching you, not just on your skin, but deeper, somewhere beneath the surface, somewhere quiet, somewhere that had been waiting to feel exactly this. The storm outside, now barely noticeable, the rain, a distant memory. The wind softened into something almost silent. Everything that had once been outside now felt far away, as if it belonged to another place, another time, something you had already left behind. And here, in this cabin, in this moment, nothing followed you, nothing remained, only this, only the quiet, only the warmth, only the gentle rhythm of something that did not need to be understood. Your awareness now softer than ever, not focused, not directed, but wide open and slowly fading. The idea of time almost gone. You could not tell how long you had been here, minutes, hours. It made no difference. It no longer mattered. The concept itself had dissolved, replaced by something simpler, something easier, something that asked nothing from you. You felt a slight shift, not in your body, but somewhere deeper, as if something inside you had finally stopped holding on. The last tension, the last effort, the last trace of needing to stay awake, it faded without resistance, without struggle, just gone. Your breathing now barely noticeable, so gentle, so quiet that it almost disappeared, blending completely with the silence around you. The fire, now only embers, a faint glow, steady and changing like a distant star, still there. Even when you no longer looked, you no longer needed to open your eyes. There was nothing to see, nothing to check, nothing to confirm. Everything was already as it should be, perfectly, naturally, complete. You drifted further, not moving, not falling, but gently, slowly, letting go of even the idea of where you were, or who you were. There was no need for that anymore, only this, only the quiet presence, only the stillness, only the soft, endless drift. The night had settled into something even deeper, not just quiet, but complete, a kind of stillness that no longer feels like silence, but like something that holds everything gently in place. The cabin remained, but even the idea of the cabin had begun to fade. It was no longer something you were inside, it was simply part of what was around you, and what was around you had softened into something without edges, without boundaries, without direction. The fire, now only a low glow, no longer flickering, no longer shifting, just steady, just present, like a quiet heartbeat, slow, calm, unchanging. You no longer felt the need to observe it, you didn't need to see it, you didn't need to follow anything. Everything that needed to be felt was already there, and you were already within it. You were breathing now so soft, so slow, that it almost disappeared into the space around you, not separate anymore, not something you controlled, but something that simply happened on its own, like the rain, like the wind, like the quiet movement of the night. Your body completely still, not because you were trying to rest, but because rest had already taken you fully, gently, without effort, without asking. Every part of you released, every muscle softened, every place that once held tension. Now empty, open, quiet, you could no longer feel the weight of your body, only a sense of being held, supported, as if the space itself had become something soft, something that carried you without pressure, without effort. The last fragments of thought now barely forming, they didn't arrive clearly, they didn't stay, they dissolved before they could become anything at all, and you let them without noticing, without choosing, without needing to. The storm outside had almost disappeared, not because it ended, but because it no longer reached you. It belonged to somewhere else, now somewhere distant, somewhere that no longer mattered. The world, everything beyond this moment. Everything beyond this quiet had gently stepped away, leaving only this soft, endless presence. You drifted, not downward, not forward, just away from effort, from awareness, from anything that required holding on to. There was nothing left to hold, nothing left to follow, nothing left to keep, only this, only the quiet space, only the steady stillness, only the feeling of being completely safe, completely at rest, completely free to let go. Your awareness softened further, as if even the idea of being aware was no longer needed, no longer useful, no longer something that belonged to you. You didn't need to notice, you didn't need to understand, you didn't need to remain present. You only needed to drift, then drifting happened on its own, effortless, natural, unavoidable, like sleep, slowly, gently approaching, without asking, without waiting, without needing permission, and you allowed it, without thinking, without deciding, without even knowing. You simply let go, and now there's nothing left to hold on to, nothing left to follow, nothing left to think about, only this quiet space, only this gentle stillness, only the soft rhythm of everything slowly fading. You no longer need to stay here, you no longer need to listen. Even the sound of this story can begin to drift away, just like everything else, slowly, gently, without effort, without resistance. Your breathing now so calm, so light, that it blends completely into the silence around you. You don't need to follow it, you don't need to control it. It simply continues on its own, and you can let go just a little more. Let your body rest deeper, let your mind grow quieter, let everything soften even more. There is nothing waiting for you, nothing you need to remember, nothing you need to do. Everything has already been left behind, everything that once mattered. Now far away, fading, becoming lighter, becoming quieter until it disappears completely. You are safe here, completely safe, held in this quiet space with nothing to disturb you, nothing to pull you back, nothing to wake you. Only this calm, only this warmth, only this endless gentle drift of your thoughts, now barely there, soft, faint, like something that no longer belongs to you. They pass without forming, without staying, without meaning, then you don't follow them. You don't need to, they dissolve on their own, and you remain in this quiet, in this stillness, in this space that asks nothing and gives everything. Your body now completely at rest, no tension, no movement, no awareness of weight. Only softness, only ease, only the gentle feeling of letting go deeper and deeper. The world around you now almost gone, the cabin, the fire, the rain, all of it fading into something distant, something soft, something that no longer needs to be noticed. You drift further, not in a direction, but away from everything, away from effort, away from thought, away from awareness. There is nothing left to reach, nothing left to understand, nothing left to hold on to, only rest, only quiet. Only the soft, endless dark that feels warm, that feels safe, that feels like home. And as you drift deeper, even this voice begins to fade, becomes softer, further away, less clear, until it is only a distant echo, barely there, barely present, and then even that begins to disappear. You don't need it anymore, you don't need anything anymore, only rest, only sleep, only the quiet space that gently carries you further and further, until there is nothing left but calm, but stillness, but sleep. And if at some point you find yourself returning here another night, another moment, you'll know this place, you'll remember these feelings, and you'll know that you can always come back. To rest, to drift, to let go. And if these quiet moments help you, you can gently support the channel with a like or a subscription, so this place can continue to grow and remain here whenever you need it. But for now, there's nothing left to do, nowhere left to go, only rest, only quiet, only sleep.